Trust me, learning how to build an app with AI is way less painful than obtaining coding skills and setting up servers from scratch, especially when there are tools like Base44 and Hostinger that can do it for you. Ready to turn your idea into a functioning app? Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
The first step is just building the application. I know, it sounds like a lot, but hear me out. That's exactly why we're going to use the AI app builder Base44. It's basically your translator, executor, and partner all in one, and you communicate with it in plain English. As one of the best app builder tools out there, it understands your request and executes it in code, writing the logic, setting up the database, and building the app interface for you. Ready? Let's go through a short Base44 tutorial. It starts with choosing a plan and creating an account. Quick heads up, if you follow the link below, you'll get your plan with a discount. There's a wide variety to choose from. You can start with the free one, but it's more like a sandbox for testing. If you're serious about building something real, I'd suggest going with a paid subscription. Personally, I find the builder plan to be the optimal choice in terms of credits and flexibility. Now, once you're inside the platform, you'll see a prompt field where you lay the foundation for your app by describing what it's about, the problem it solves, and how it does it. I went with creating a meditation app that guides users into a relaxed state. After submitting the prompt, the AI starts generating the project. Within a short time, Base44 builds a full application structure that can include user authentication, interface pages, a database for storing information, and the core app logic, depending on your needs. As you can see, it only takes a few moments for Base44 to build a fully functional piece of software that you can interact with directly in the preview environment. To confidently say that Base44 is one of the best AI app builder tools, you need to test and refine what it created. If you want to change something, simply write a new prompt describing what to modify. That could be adjusting the design, adding features, or reorganizing elements. For example, I typed, "Change the menu bar's color to blue," and the app updated instantly. It's important to spend enough time testing to make sure the core functionality works as expected. Alright, let's say you're satisfied with what the no-code app builder created. That means we can move on to the next step, preparing the project for hosting. We'll be using Hostinger's VPS hosting for that. First, you'll need to export the project files. Many platforms don't offer this, but luckily Base44 does. Open the project menu and select the option to export your project as a zip file. Just keep in mind that depending on your plan, this feature may require a paid tier like the Builder subscription, which unlocks file downloads. You can check the plan details using the link in the description to access the best available price. Now, after exporting the project, download the zip file to your computer and extract it. Inside the folder, you'll find everything, from the visual interface users see to the underlying logic that handles data and functionality. In simple terms, these files are the complete version of your app, ready to be uploaded to a hosting server so it can go live on the internet. Speaking of hosting, think of a server as the environment that keeps your app running and accessible online 24/7. A VPS or virtual private server gives you dedicated resources in a virtual environment. It offers more flexibility and control than basic shared hosting, but without the cost and complexity of maintaining your own dedicated server. Let's proceed with a short Hostinger VPS tutorial. Start by creating an account on Hostinger.com and choosing a VPS plan by scanning this QR code on screen. Once you're there, you'll see 4 plans. For a new project, I recommend KVM2 because it gives you a safer performance buffer from the start. Yes, the cheapest plan can work, but it may start to feel limiting sooner than you expect. KVM2 gives you more room, so you're less likely to run into performance issues if your traffic grows. After all, you're building this to be used. Once your plan is secured, you'll enter the setup phase. There, you'll choose the server location and operating system. A quick note on both, the location determines where your app is physically hosted, which can affect speed and latency. But there are workarounds like using a content delivery network, and Hostinger even lets you change location for free, along with guidance on which region suits your needs best. As for the operating system, it defines the environment your app runs in. Currently, Hostinger offers Linux-based systems, and I'm going with Ubuntu since it's one of the most commonly used. When the server is deployed, you can access it through Hostinger's hPanel dashboard. From there, you can manage files, configure security settings, and monitor server resources. Hostinger also includes built-in automation and an AI assistant called Cody. Saying it makes things easier would be an understatement. You don't even need to know where certain buttons are. Just give Cody a task and within moments, it handles it for you. Now that your server is up and running, you need to move your Base44 app files onto it. It's actually kind of simple. Start by uploading your zip file to your Hostinger VPS. It can be done either with hPanel's file management tools or via a direct file transfer method such as SFTP. For this guide, I'm uploading it using the hPanel since it requires no setup and is just as safe. After uploading, unpack the archive on the server. Before continuing, make sure Node.js and npm are installed. Then open the app's project folder in the terminal and type npm install. This installs all the required dependencies your app needs to run. Next, type npm start in the terminal to launch the app. This tells the server to start the application so it can be accessed online. Some applications may also require a few additional server components before they can run properly, depending on how the project was built. For example, you might need Node.js or a web server like Apache. If that's the case, you can install them directly through the VPS terminal using SSH and running the required commands. The good news is you're not locked into a fixed setup. You can configure the server based on your app's needs. Before we wrap this part up, there's one more thing to know. Base44 can continue hosting the database and backend API on its own servers. So even if you move the front end of your app to Hostinger, you don't necessarily have to migrate everything right away. Your app can still store and retrieve user data without setting up a separate database on your VPS from day one. Later, if you want more control or scalability, you can migrate that part too. Whether you're planning to set up your server right after this Hostinger VPS review section or come back to it a bit later, I've left a link in the description that takes you directly to the best available offer. One more step left, making your app accessible through a domain. If you already own one, you can link it to your VPS by updating the DNS records. In your domain settings, point the A record to your VPS IP address. In other words, you link your web address to the server. That way, when someone types in your domain, they're directed to your server. No worries if you don't have a domain yet. Simply purchase one directly through Hostinger and connect it to your VPS during the setup. Once your domain is connected, it's recommended to enable SSL encryption so your app runs securely over HTTPS. Hostinger provides free SSL certificates that you can activate in the dashboard security settings. Once DNS propagation finishes and SSL is enabled, your app will be accessible securely in any browser. And that was the last step of this Base44 tutorial. At this point, your AI-generated app should be live and accessible to users online. If anything doesn't load correctly, it usually comes down to file path, database connections, or server configuration. No need to panic, you don't have to start from scratch. Checking server logs or reviewing your setup steps typically resolves most issues. From here on out, you can continue improving your app inside Base44, export updated versions, and upload the new files to your server whenever needed. And that's it. You now know the full process of how to build an app with AI and host it on a Hostinger VPS. And make sure to check out our other videos like the Base44 tutorial to learn even more useful things. Comment below if there are other products you want to hear about. See you next time.